Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixion live stream. Glad to have you with us again as we are talking about marriage again this week because we love it and we want to help people get them right. Yesterday we talked about, if you want to, what did we call it? How to find your spouse V1, version 1, episode 1. Because most people think that dating apps are where you start, but we're saying start internally. Get yourself together so that you can get out there and find the right person. Let's assume that you have done so in the last 24 hours. I hope you have. Today, how to find your spouse V2, version 2. Right? Now that you get out there and look for, what are you looking for? Let's say you got yourself together. What are you looking for? And again, a common misperception, I would say, in the world out there is that you should look for beautiful people, right? Like hot chicks or handsome men, right? Like that's what we're supposed to look for. And by all means, I am one here. Deacon Greg's going to show you a picture of my beautiful bride and my two sweet little girls. This was a long time ago when the girls were, I think at that point they were like 3 and 5 or 4 and 6. They're much older now, but I mean, look how beautiful my bride is, right? So I'm very blessed and fortunate that I found a stunningly gorgeous woman. But we're being sold like, and you could see it in all the advertising that's out there, right? Like everybody's handsome and beautiful and they're all ripped up. They got no body fat and their hair is perfect and their skin's got no blemishes and so on. You can see that's been put upon us for a long time. If you pay close attention, quick aside, to modern or current advertising, there are unhealthy people and overweight people and blemished people in all the ads now. They're trying to break that whole thing because it's been shoved down our throats for so long. And so the question I'm asking today is, when you look for someone, what is the list, right? Can it be a beautiful woman or a handsome man? According to, listen to this, Jimmy Soul, right? Jimmy Soul, for those who know, if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife. All right, you better know that song, 1963. So from his personal point of view, you get an ugly girl to marry you. All right, Jimmy Soul, 1963. That's a great song. But he's making a statement like, don't get caught in beauty, baby, because beauty you should have, but alone cannot suffice, right? Because you get lost if you're looking for, and that's really egotistical in the sense, anyways, right? Because and I do it. You walk with the beautiful bride on your arm and look at my woman. Look how good I am. I'm so lucky I got this hot mama, right? Like it's about feeding your own ego when you pursue beauty alone. Therefore, then, what should we pursue? What are we going after? My suggestion to you is to make a list, right? I did, right? I know my bride did. I made a list of things that were important. This is probably the most important decision you will make in your life. I think the 3 big ones are who you marry, where you live, and what you do. Gotta get those 3 right. But the most important of them is who you marry. Because if you're miserable with who you marry, where you live, and what you do, it's only going to be more miserable, right? Make the most important decision of your life with disciplined thought planning. Make a list, right? I'll give you my example. My personal example. I decided first on my list that my spouse had to be an Orthodox Christian. Now, that is not necessarily because I'm making the claim that Orthodox Christians are better or worse than anybody else, but I had the plan to become an Orthodox priest. I could not become a priest without an Orthodox wife, so it was needed, number one. More importantly than that, I knew that she would have the values and the thoughts and the understanding of God that I did. Her traditions would be the same as mine, right? We would think the same in the things that are of essence in order to think the same. Number 2, I wanted her to be Lebanese. Now, I'm ethnically Lebanese. So is my bride. It was important to me, again, not because I think Lebanese people are better or worse than anybody else, but because I think in a certain way, she thinks in that same fashion. Do you understand that? It's like one of those things. So for us, it's never a conversation in our home that on Christmas we visit my family and on Thanksgiving we visit hers, right? That's just one of the things that we do. Is family is super important to us, particularly on holidays, right? That may not be the way you do it, and you don't need to do it the way I do it, and my way is not better than your way or worse. It is our way, and having that same ethnic understanding is essential. Now, it isn't a deal breaker. If my bride was from another ethnic culture, another country with a different mindset, it still might have worked, provided that number 1 was there, right? You understand that? But it was important because it put us in the same line. I don't have to discuss some of my certain cultural, what do you call it, quirks with her. They may not be good, but she understands them. This is what I say in premarital counseling. My wife and I may be crazy, but it's the same kind of crazy. Do you understand that? And so we don't have to have all those conversations because whether we're thinking messed up, we're doing it together. All right, number 3, things that are also important. Someone who has certain moral, moral, ethical considerations. understanding, approaches. Like you want to be able to think the same, that things matter the same. I'm not talking the stupid politics that you guys are obsessed with. I don't care if you're a Republican and she's a Democrat or vice versa. That's stupid. You guys can figure that out. What I'm talking about is, the big dogs of life. And most of that is informed by your faith for us as Orthodox Christians, right? As warrior saints. Most of our morality and ethics are informed by our faith, right? That's important though. I had one time a couple come to me. This is an interesting thing, and though this deals more with the faith, they were about to become Orthodox Christians. I mean, very close. The woman was all in, the man was all in. And yet at some point, like at the 11th hour, he said, "Oh, I don't believe in the Virgin Mary. Like I don't think she was the mother of the Son of God." And the wife was devastated, right? Like, what happened? Well, they eventually left the church. I've never seen them since. I hope they're well if they're watching. But the idea was that understanding was different, and she didn't know until that last moment, and boom, there you go. It derailed them off their path of their pursuit of the faith. You understand? So, like, all of these things, you could create, all of these things are essential. Make your list, right? It could go on and on. I need somebody who's healthy. I mean, I'm trying hard in my own life to be healthy. I want that person, my bride, to be fighting for her own health as well, so that we can live, hopefully, with God's grace, a long, happy life together, raising our kids and someday our grandkids, and maybe, if God so wills, even their kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the things that matter to me. Make your list. And I would say this to you. Let 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 17 be the reference for the list you devise. So when you're looking for your spouse, listen to what Paul says. 17. Only let each one of you lead the life which the Lord has assigned to him and in which God has called him. What I'm saying by that, by using that verse, and I think what St. Paul is saying, because that's where in chapter 7, where he's going to immediately, right after that verse, get into his conversation on marriage, is to say this: let the person you seek with the information on your list be one who leads a crucifixional life. Find someone like yourself who is struggling to be crucifixional, right? Like if someone is a total pagan, heretic, hedonistic type of person that lives their life in excess with always thinking about themselves, if that's the person that you're chasing, that may be what you want. Right, great, do it. But if that's not what you want, then why would you go after that? Why would you chase that? Why wouldn't you find someone who's leading a life that Paul is talking about, a life worthy of God who has called him? That should be your modus operandi as well. That needs to be what you're looking at. Who are you chasing? Who are you seeking to be your spouse? Yesterday we said in version 1, episode 1, to you become first the right man or woman, so that then in episode 2 you can find the right woman, the right man. You do that by building a list of the things that are important to you, whatever they may be, and find someone who has the majority, at least, of things on that list. Not checking boxes, but some things are negotiable. For me, it was my ethnicity. Some things are not. For me, it was my faith. Whatever it may be for you, the truth of the matter is, if you are deliberate about it and go find someone who's living crucifixionally, you're going to find the right person. I love you. I hope you have a great day. You should check out our stuff, warriorsaints.org, right? Subscribe. It's good. Love you. We'll be back tomorrow, as always. Keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.